my wonderful viewers, and welcome to another episode of Betty Adams Overanalyzes. Today we are going to be taking a look at Kaiju number 8. Specifically, we are going to be taking a look at the battle between Private Kikoru Shinomiya and Kaiju number 15, or as we've been calling her up to this point, the Brainy Ballerina. That begins in chapters 76 and 77 and really gets going in chapter 78. Why am I taking this time to look at this one battle? Well, quite frankly, it was because of the comments I was seeing in various subreddits and on various YouTube videos. As this battle gets started, you have basically 2 entire chapters setting it up, which is unusual because usually you get 1 chapter of setup. Now, Matsumoto is generally very chary of wasting even individual panels, let alone entire chapters like that, so that raised a lot of eyebrows. Then you get 78, which really sets up this individual battle, where the previous 2 chapters were setting up all 5 of the major battles between Kaiju number 9's forces and the Defense Force forces. And to my surprise, because I really enjoyed chapter 78 and the way it set up this battle, the overall impression was a sigh and rolling eyes, and I think the overall impression to this battle was late stage shonen. I can't remember who exactly said that, but everybody's like, it's the tourney arc, we're in a mid-level battle in the tourney arc. The general assumption was that we all know how this is going to go. They're going to battle, Kikoru can't win, her power levels are too low, but she's going to pull a win out of thin air anyway. And I didn't really think that. I don't think Matsumoto is innocent enough, isn't so unskilled that he's going to play this straight. Matsumoto does the C.S. Lewis thing. He doesn't worry about being original. He just tells a good story and doesn't worry about using tropes that are, quite frankly, very old and tired. And that is what has taken what is essentially a basic shonen combat manga and shot it up the charts despite its weird release schedule, despite a lot of trouble finding the footing at the beginning. Despite all of that, Kaiju number 8, the only way you can compare its sales with other manga is for manga that already have the anime out. Kaiju number 8, before the anime launches, is tracking like a manga that already has an anime. That's how good it's selling. That's how much people love this. And so that is because there's very little that's original about this other than the age of the main character. That's really telling to how well Matsumoto writes, I mean, artwork aside. So, what is going on here? How is this battle going to go down? I think how Matsumoto handles this one specific battle is really going to tell us a lot. So I got curious about what other people thought. So I went on Reddit and I made a poll. And the poll had 5 options, and I introduced it. Okay, Kikoru is injured. Her power is failing. Most tellingly, from the past few chapters, the point of view has shifted from her. We're no longer inside Kikoru's head during this combat, which is odd enough in itself, to her support staff, mainly Kurusu, who was the same screamy science guy who watched her father die in a fight. Remember, Kurusu was that guy who, when the Director General told everybody to evacuate the command tent, Kurusu ducked for cover and said, "No, I'm here to support you." And General Director Shiniomay would not have lasted nearly as long as he did if Kurusu hadn't been there to manage his suit from the back end. And I, for one, despite this being a classic shonen tourney battle, do not think that Matsumoto is going to go with an assured Kikoru win here. I don't even think that's likely. So I wanted to hear what everybody else had. So I offered 5 options. Option 1, which is the one I favor, Kikoru gets defeated and absorbed by Kaiju number 15, completing Kaiju number 9's match set of Shinimaya's. You'll remember, we definitely know that Kaiju number 9 has the Director General Shiniomay, and if you've been following my channel for any length of time at all, you know that I think that Hikaru Shinomiya was also absorbed by Kaiju number 9 back in the day, and that's what gave him the brains to start down this path. Option number 2, Matsumoto actually has the gut to let Kikoru die. Remember, for all that we love Kikoru Shinomiya, she is not our main character, and 2 members of the Shinomiya family have already died essentially on screen. So maybe Matsumoto is going to let her die and have that be character motivation for Kafka and the remaining Defense Force officers. Option number 3, Kikoru pulls out the power of friendship or some such and flattens Kaiju number 15. Either the power of friendship or the power of training or the power of will. We've all seen this before in various shonen mangas. Dragon Ball Z was the one with the emotional power-ups. What's the one with the power of friendship power-ups? The Black Clover. And then you have ones that are just sheer power of will or power of training. I'd say training would be the Naruto classic. But anyway, this is what everybody seems to be afraid of is going to happen. They don't want it to happen. They're just afraid that that's where Matsumoto is going here, from the comments. So that's why I put that option up there. Then I have Kikoru gets bodied and has to be rescued by Reno or Kafka. And then I put Kikoru grits her teeth, fight Kaiju number 15 to a draw, and they both retreat. Now remember, the main complaint that everybody's been having about this is that Matsumoto is being predictable. The story is classic late stage shonen. So I put out this poll and had people respond, and I think the results are very, very telling. They're telling that no, Matsumoto is not all that predictable, because I've got some very interesting results here. So, without further ado, let's get into them. Coming in at a solid number 5, the very last one that anybody expects was actually my favorite one. So that had me a bit surprised there. This is kind of what I was expecting. That Kikoru gets defeated and absorbed by Kaiju number 15, completing Kaiju number 9's match set. Now, when you're looking at that got 34 of 497 votes, bringing it at people thinking that was a 77% likelihood. So, out of 100 chances, people think that only 7 of those are likely to turn out. Only 7% of the people think it's likely that Kikoru is going to be captured and absorbed by either Kaiju number 15 or Kaiju number 9. And this kind of goes back to one of my personal pet theories, which is probably why other people weren't so into it, that Hikaru Shiniomay was also absorbed. And that might be thematically appropriate for this entire family line to be absorbed and defeated by Kaiju number 9. Now, it is only 7%. 7 chances out of 100 people seem to think this has. Those are the odds. But none of the other options were that distant from 7%. So that means that this is a pretty significant number, that 7% of the people think that Kikoru is going to get absorbed. But that does put it solidly last at number 5. At number 4, we have death. Interestingly enough, we have 11%, so less than twice, so half again as many, less than twice the number of people think that Matsumoto actually has the guts to let Kikoru die. And this battle arc was the first time we've seen true character death on screen. No question whether they're coming back or not, no question whether they've been absorbed and are being stored away somewhere. We've seen characters get obliterated. Yes, they were faceless Defense Force mooks, but we still saw somebody die. So that's probably why, again, we have 11%. Now, 11% doesn't sound like much, but that is 1 in 10, and we still have 3 other options to go through. So, but again, that's not nothing. So at least 1 in 10 people think that, yeah, Matsumoto might actually let one of our protagonists die in the tourney battle. That's interesting. Next, coming in at number 3, we've got a distinct jump up here. This is the power of friendship. That one. This is the one we're all afraid of. That Kikoru will pull out the power of friendship or training or willpower and roundly defeat Kaiju number 15, leaving herself ready to go on and assist the others. So this is, again, it only comes in at number 3, but we have a distinct jump up to 20% or 101. We've got 101 votes out of 497 votes. That brings us in at 20%. Twice as many people think it's likely that Kikoru is going to pull out the power of friendship and defeat the person. Now, in general, these people don't want this to happen, but they're just afraid that Matsumoto is going to be a slave to these shonen tropes rather than making them his servants. He won't be able to use these shonen tropes, rather the story will be used by them. So, but again, 20% is not that much different from 7 or 11%. Yeah, it's basically twice them. 2 to 3 times them. But we've now used up a total of 38%. So a third, any of these options, or you're looking at a third of the people who responded thought this was going to happen. And number 4 on the list is only 8 points higher than number 3, with the option of Kikoru just getting bodied by Kaiju number 15. Kaiju number 15 completely overwhelming her and Kikoru needing a rescue. And either Kafka, who's in the back lines and not fighting, or Reno, who we haven't seen show up yet, is going to come up and rescue her. And that one got 140 votes and comes in at 28%. Again, not distinctly larger than the first two, but not that too far away from them. So when you're looking at an average, you've got mean, median, mode, and range. Now, the mean is the average, but whether or not an average is useful to us mathematically is kind of up for grabs. So if you have a bunch of numbers and one of them is 1 and one of them is 1,000,000, the average isn't going to tell you much. So you need to know the range. What's the difference between the largest number and the smallest number? And the difference between the largest number and the smallest number is less than 30% in this case. Then you have the median, the one that's directly in the middle, and the difference is less than 30%. The median is 20%. So those are pretty close together. And then you have the mode, the one that occurs the most often, which really isn't relevant here because we don't have any number that repeats. But the concept here is the difference between the smallest number and the largest number isn't very large. So that means people's opinions are very scattered. There's no one concept on this list that overwhelmed all the others. So then we get to what was by far the most popular one, but still it only comes in at 34%, which isn't that much bigger than 28%. So 169 votes out of 497 votes said that Kikoru would grit her teeth and fight Kaiju number 15 to a draw. So Kikoru's just going to call upon her willpower and her training and her raw power, and she's going to be able to fight Kaiju number 15 to a draw, and then they both retreat, leaving Kaiju number 15, Kikoru's evil doppelganger, to develop as a character, and Kikoru to have fulfilled her wish not to be rescued again, even if she has utterly failed in her goal for nobody to die on her battlefield. Because remember that, Kikoru's already failed miserably when it comes to her actual stated goal, because her actual stated goal was that nobody dies on any battlefield she steps on. Now, this poll is a poll of opinions of people who care about Kaiju number 8, and a poll of people who are the kind of people to respond to polls. So take that for what it's worth. But the least popular option, Kikoru getting defeated and being absorbed by Kaiju number 15, and the second least popular option, Kikoru getting killed, are only 7 and 11%, which is not that distance from the most popular options, 28 and 34%. So again, the range between the most popular and the least popular option is very, very close to both the median, the average, the mean, the average, and the median, the number that's exactly in the middle. When all of these numbers are really close together, what it means that all of the numbers in the set are really close together, which means statistically that the most popular option, draw, does not have that many more votes than the least popular option. So, and that is my main point kind of out of this video. Matsumoto has not created an obvious situation here. There's a lot of questions. What's going to happen? Is Kikoru going to win? Is she going to die? More people think that she's going to fight Kaiju number 15 to a draw than think she's going to die, but the difference between those opinions is not huge. So no, I don't think that this is late stage shonen. I think that Matsumoto has created a world here where literally anything can happen. Kikoru might die, Kikoru might live, Kikoru might beat Kaiju number 15, Kikoru might pull a draw out of this and they both retreat. I, for one, do not know what's going to happen. I'm pretty good at predicting stories. And the slur, the insult against late stage shonen is that we all know exactly what's going to happen next. This is a shonen trope we're going to get what we expect. And I don't think you can say that about Matsumoto's work. Matsumoto's just too good a writer for that. And I think the numbers from the poll really do that as a fan base, we can't predict what's going to happen next. So I did that poll on Reddit, but I want to do one here on YouTube. So I asked that if you did the poll on Reddit, don't do the poll here on YouTube. I want to get a slightly different fan base. Right now on Reddit, it's primarily manga fans. And on YouTube, you're going to get primarily anime fans. So we don't have the anime yet. At least that's my reading of it. I'm going to put this poll up on YouTube and see what the YouTubers think. That'll be in the community post section of my YouTube page. If you want to answer the YouTube poll, you can go there and check it out. I'll try to put a link to that in the description of this video. All right, my wonderful viewers, what do you think? What is going to happen next? And of course, we will find out when this releases, although this fight is probably going to take up more than one chapter going forward. So we won't know for sure how it's going to end for a couple months yet. So hit that like and subscribe button. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Is this just late stage shonen? Can we predict what's going to happen next? Leave a comment below telling me what you think is going to happen between the battle of Kikoru Shiniomay and Kaiju number 15, the Brainy Ballerina. Again, hit that like and subscribe button and peace out, my wonderful viewers.